Hello everyone, welcome to my weekly Facebook Live. I am Ruth Norton with Ruth Stamping Corner. This is the card we are making today. It is so stinking adorable. All week long on my blog, I am sharing fun ways to make backgrounds using Stampin Blends. Just a way to stretch your markers a little bit farther. Instead of just using them for coloring, we're going to use them for some gorgeous backgrounds. So I'm going to show you how I created this amazing background. And then at the end, I'll show you a few more cards that will be featured on my blog, that have been featured on my blog and will be featured on my blog later this week. So don't let me forget those. I'm actually going to put them somewhere where I'm not going to forget them, because normally I forget them. So, but stick around till the end and I will, hopefully if I remember, I will show them to you. Otherwise they're all on my blog this week. But I had a team event last weekend, and one of my demos that I shared was how to make these amazing backgrounds using just Stampin' Blend markers. So we're going to do that in just a minute, but before we do, just a few quick announcements. This is your last reminder for the November paper pumpkin, the Warm Wishes. This is going to be 8 boxes for each of 2 different designs. Now, if you don't want boxes, there is a card add-on kit. This is just card bases. You get 20 card bases. So if you want the card bases, if you want to turn your paper pumpkin into cards instead of boxes, you can add on that card base in my online store. So you can shop that in my online store. Yesterday we had a online exclusive release. These are released 3 times a year. And I've already shared some of them, and we're going to use another one today, this Fluffiest Friends Bundle. This is one of our amazing online exclusives. Now, I absolutely love all of these, and this little beaver is my favorite, but for some reason, all of my crafting has been with this little bear. Now, he's super cute too, but they are all super adorable, and I need to use all of them, but I just love this little bear. But the beaver I love too. But this is an online exclusive. You can get this in my online store. We're using this one today. We are also using we're using the Throughout the Year stamp set. This one's in the mini catalog. You can shop for that in my online store as well while you're shopping those online exclusives. The online exclusives are only available while supplies last. We don't know which ones will be restocked. Some of them will be restocked, but we don't really know which ones will be. There's some brand new stamp sets. There's some gorgeous paper. Make sure you check that out in my online store. If you are shopping, this is my November host code. You can earn extra benefits when you shop using this host code. All orders receive a PDF with 3 exclusive projects. If your order is over $50, you will receive the Make and Take Kit that coordinates with that PDF. All right, I think we're going to jump in. So we're going to actually start with the background, because it's going to need some time to kind of set up and dry. So I'm going to bring this in so we kind of know what we're doing. But I have a piece of chipboard. This is just one of the backings from like specialty paper that we get. And then I have a piece of vellum that is, let me check it is 5 by 3 3/4. 5 by 3 3/4. This is just vellum. So you just need a non-porous surface. Vellum is really good for this kind of background. And then for my Stampin' Blends, for my sky, we're going to use Night of Navy and Balmy Blue. And then for my grass, we're going to use Old Olive and Granny Apple Green. Okay, so now the special trick that's going to turn the Stampin' Blends into this gorgeous background is a little bit of rubbing alcohol. This you just get at your local pharmacy. I like the higher alcohol content on these because it dries a lot quicker. And then I have a few cotton balls that we're going to use as well. So we're going to start with our background and then give that time to dry. I like to use my brush tip ends for these because it lays down color much quicker. So you can see I'm just scribbling on there. So I'm going to go about 2/3 up with the blues, and I'm doing my dark Night of Navy, and then I'm going to do my dark Balmy Blue, and we may come in with some other shades of those in just a minute, but this is what we're kind of sticking with for now. Yeah, I think that's good. All right, and we're going to start with our blues. So I'm going to grab my alcohol here. And I'm just going to get a little bit of it onto my cotton ball. There we go. And all you're going to do is you're just going to kind of pounce on this. And the alcohol is going to move all of that ink from the Stampin' Blends. I don't know if you can see that. You can see it already starting to move. So the more you pounce, the more it's going to move. The more alcohol gets on that vellum, the more it's going to start moving. All right. Love this. Love that. So pretty. So this is what it's starting to look like. We're going to go ahead and let this dry. We're actually going to come in and do the greens while that dries. So I have my dark old olive. Again, we're going to go for our brush tips. You want to use darker colors on this, more concentrated colors, because when you add the alcohol, they're going to kind of lighten up as you go. So the darker colors you add, the better your final result will be. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so some granny apple green, some dark old olive, and we're going to do the same thing. I am going to get another cotton ball. You don't want to use the same cotton ball because it has that blue on it. So I'm going to get a little bit more. I'm going to get a different cotton ball for my granny apple green, or for my greens, not just granny apple green, but old olive too. And we're just going to pounce this along too. Don't go too far into that blue. You don't want those colors to blend too much. I'm just going to pounce just a little bit. You can see that gorgeous background. All right, now my blue is pretty much dry up here, so we're going to kind of see where do we want some more color. And I think this time I'm going to bring in my light Night of Navy. We're just going to add just a little bit more color around. And then again, just some more of the dark balmy blue, just for some added color. All right, so find my blue cotton ball. Just make sure we have enough alcohol on there to blend it. Okay, and we are going to just pounce that around. So you can keep doing this. You can add lots of layers. If you want more intense color, you can just keep adding those layers. Okay. Fantastic. Just keep kind of pouncing that color. The alcohol will blend all that ink. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. All right, I think we're going to go in with one more layer of the green, and then we're going to call it good. So I'm going to do my dark granny apple green. Lots of areas with this, and then I'm going to go in with some light old olive, just to give a little bit different range. And you can see the vellum is starting to kind of curl and buckle. Don't worry, we'll address that in just a minute. So grab a cotton ball. You can use the same one, and we're just going to come in and just blend that color a little bit more. Now, if you're using lighter colors, which you'll see in an example in just a minute, you may need to do multiple layers, 2-3 layers. You may need to do that. Okay, so this is our gorgeous background. You can see we're going to set this aside to dry, and I'm just going to kind of even up that ground just a little bit. Okay, we're going to set this aside to dry. We'll come back to that in just a little while. I'm going to put this away before we spill that and make a mess. All right, so we're done with those Stampin' Blends. So let's bring in the rest of our cards. So I've already done the stamping of my bear and die cutting him in advance, just to speed up time just a little bit. So I stamped him in Memento ink, and we're going to color him. Again, with Stampin' Blends, we're going to bring those in. I'm going to use my Daffodil Delight for the honey. And this time I'm going to use my my little bullet tip in, and I'm going to do the dark shade first, just kind of around the left side of that honey, and then we'll come in with the light and fill that out. So cute. All right, that is it for the Daffodil Delight. Now for the little honey pot, I'm going to bring in Moody Mauve. That's the color of my card base and my ribbon here, so I'm going to pull that in, and I'm going to start with my dark, and kind of the inside of the pot back here in the back will be darker, and then along the edges, I've mentioned this before, when you have a curved image, the center is going to be the lightest, so my edges and my bottom will be the darker colors, or the darkest shades. So that's where I'm going to make sure to concentrate my dark. And then we'll bring in the light and just blend that out. Okay. There we go. Moody Mauve is becoming one of my favorite new in colors. If you haven't had a chance to play with it too much, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous color. All right. So there's our little bear. So now we just have to color the bear, and I'm just going to use Crumb Cake for that. I go with the Stampin' Blends. Now for this one, I am going to bring in my brush tips because it is a much bigger space, and it's just going to be easier to cover that surface area much quicker. So with my dark, I'm coming in along the side of him, the back over here, kind of up on his knee, around his foot, on the bottom, under the honey pot, like this, and then this foot back here. And his arm is going to be a little bit darker, and just around the honey pot, and then under his chin. We'll just have a little bit of dark, just like that. So that is all of my dark, and then I'm going to bring in my light, and we're going to blend that out. We're going to go to his face in just a minute. I want to get his body done first. So some circular motions will help blend all that dark out. And just a few little blends over here. Working in smaller areas first, so like we're doing his body first, and then we'll go back and do his face. Working in these smaller areas will actually will help your blends blend a little bit more, because they blend better when they're still wet. So if you address it when it's still a little bit wet instead of letting it dry, they'll actually blend a little bit better. So there's our little body. Now for his foot, I'm just going to color his foot Crumb Cake, and then I'm going to go to the bullet tip end and just color the little pads of his feet with the dark. And I forgot his little hand back here holding this one, so I'm going to color that one as well. Okay, so that's his body. So now we're going to do his face. We're going to do his face the same way, just dark around the sides, a little bit around his little nose here, and then on his ears, the tops of his ears, and the top of his head. And then we're just going to fill in the rest with the light. And you can make him any color. If you want a gray bear, you can do our gray granite or smoky slate. Those would be great. We also have all of our natural tones blends, which have lots of different shades of, they're meant for skin tones, but they work great for little critters too. All right, so just fill in his little nose there with the light, and that is it for our little bear. You can add some cute little rosy cheeks if you want, but that is it for our sweet little bear. Isn't he cute? All right, so that's it for our Stampin' Blend. So we made our background, so let's pull that in. So we have this gorgeous background, which we made with our Stampin' Blends. Isn't that fun? So we're going to mount this on a piece of white, because if we were to go straight to the Crumb Cake on this, we're going to lose a lot of that background detail. So we're actually going to mount it on to a piece of white, and you'll be able to see all that detail so much better. And you can even, which side is better? This side, I think, might be a little bit better. Well, I don't know. I like this side. So super cute, right? Now, vellum is always tricky because you can see your adhesive. So what I like to do is I like to stick them on adhesive sheets. And I have the adhesive sheet cut to the same exact size as my vellum. So the adhesive sheet is 5 by 3 3/4. This is also good if your vellum, this one isn't too warped, but if your vellum gets really warped, sometimes if you add lots of the alcohol to the vellum, it can kind of really curl up and warp. So if it's really warped, this is a great way to adhere your vellum. It'll hold it nice and straight. And how do I want to do this? It'll hold it nice and flat and straight, and you're never, ever, ever going to see the adhesive. So because this is cut to the same exact size, I'm just trying to line up these corners. I just peeled off one section, and then as we go down, I'll continue to peel off the other sections, and it should just all line up and lay flat. Just like that. So fun. Right now, this whole thing is covered in adhesive now, so it's basically like a giant sticker. So I'm going to give this a nice little press and make sure that everything is nice and adhered. And my white piece is also cut to the same size, so 5 by 3 3/4. So we are going to now peel off the backing piece to our vellum, and our vellum is now like a full sticker. So I'm just going to peel off a little bit of it, and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to line up the corners, and we'll just kind of stick it down as we move our way down. Oop. I'm going to lift that up. Make sure that you're not getting little like little bubbles like this. This one kind of bent, so I'm going to try to lift this up so I can straighten it out. Okay, there we go. Nice and straight. So do it a little bit at a time, and that will help you to prevent all those little creases and bubbles. There we go. Isn't that background so fun? And it was so easy. Just some Stampin' Blends and some rubbing alcohol. Isn't that fun? Such a good background. All right, so give that a good little burnish, and we can add this to our card. So we're going to stick this on to a piece of crumb cake that is just 1/8 of an inch bigger. So the crumb cake is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And we are going to, where's my adhesive? I'm looking for my adhesive. We're going to stick this down to our crumb cake piece. So we have lots of layers of this. We have the vellum, we have the adhesive sheet, and then we have the white. So we have lots of layers going on this already. And if you didn't get everything lined up super straight, you can trim your white and your vellum piece. Okay, I'm gonna flip this over. I didn't get that straight, so I had to pull it back up, but cardstock has 2 sides, so it works. When you only have 1/8 of an inch border, you really gotta get it right. So there's just a tiny little border around the sides there. Okay, this goes onto our card base. I have a Moody Mauve card base, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and it is scored in half at 4 1/4. So just your standard card base there. And then we're gonna stick this down. All right. So pretty. Now you can do this with anything. There's so many different colors and stuff you can do this with. I like the cotton ball technique with this background because you can do it, it's much more controlled. So we have a definite ground here, we have a definite sky here. All right, let's add our little bear. Now that he's all colored, he's ready to go. Some dimensionals on the back of him. We haven't used any dimensionals yet on this card, so we're gonna pop up everything else. So he's just going to sit off to the side here on the grass and enjoy his honey. Now I've also already pre-stamped my greeting here. This is from that Throughout the Year stamp set in the mini catalog. I love this one. I've been using this one a ton. And then for my little tag is the TaylorMade Tags dies, which I also love. I've used those for forever. And we're going to add this with dimensionals as well. So just a couple on the back. And then we're just going to tuck this in, and our little tag is going to hang off just a little bit. So let's give that a little bit of a trim. You will be able to like fold these ends and fit them into an envelope. So I added some Moody Mauve ribbon to the tag, and then I tied it up with some of the Crumb Cake baker's twine from our Essentials twine. So our card is almost done. You can see this one is a lot darker than this one. I did probably a 3rd layer on this one. This one we only did 2 layers. I probably did a 3rd layer on this one. Can you see these little flower embellishments down here? Aren't those adorable? So those little flowers, they'll be coming in January. These are our adhesive backed hearts and flowers. So these are coming in January, but they are so adorable. Look at how adorable these little embellishments are. I can't wait to play with these more. But because these are not available just yet, I am actually going to pull out our loose daisies, and we're going to use these instead. These will be a similar look, but you can get these now. So if you wanted to make this card, you can get these little loose daisies now. So just a couple drops of liquid glue, and then I'm just going to use my glue dot and pick up a couple of these little daisies and just stick them down. I love these daisies because they're nice and flat. They're not going to interfere with the post office or anything like that. And you can add as many as you want. Aren't they adorable? So you're going to get a much similar look with products you can get now. All right, so that is today's card. Isn't it adorable? I love it. So you can see just the different looks you can get to with as layers you can add. Try different blues, try different greens as well. So this is today's card. I'm gonna move this one aside because those flowers are still drying. On Monday I posted this one, which is done with the same technique. You can see the Stampin Blends back here. Now I used Bubble Bath and Fresh Freesia. So these are much lighter colors, so I had to go in with more than 1 layer on these, like 2 or 3 different layers, probably at least 3. But this stamp set, this little bee stamp set, this is going to come in January as well. But you can check this out on my blog. This was posted on Monday. Yesterday I posted this amazing card. Look at those gorgeous colors. So I used Poppy Parade and Mellow Mambo blends on this one, but instead of using a cotton ball to move the color around, I spritzed it with the alcohol, and then I actually used a straw to kind of blow it around to get those kind of blooms of color. Isn't that gorgeous? And then Thursday and Friday I have a couple more cards coming with Stampin' Blends techniques. I have this one which features that adorable little beaver from that Fluffiest Friends stamp set, but instead of on vellum, it is on a window sheet. And you can see my light reflecting in that, but it is a window sheet instead of vellum, which just makes it so pretty and so shiny. So any non-porous surface will work. And then this one is also on a window sheet instead of vellum, but done in the same way. This one was done with the cotton balls, and then this one is done just with spritzing it with the alcohol and then using the straw to move the color around. So isn't that pretty? So many different varieties. Just by using some rubbing alcohol and your Stampin' Blends, you can make some gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous backgrounds. So thank you so much for joining me today. I will be back on Sunday for week 7 of my 12 weeks of Christmas. The project is adorable. You guys won't want to miss that one. And watch for all these cards being posted on my blog and social media. So these 2 will be in the next couple of days, but everything else will be posted either today or it has been posted. So you can check everything out. If you are shopping, please head to my online store, use this host code. And if you're on Facebook, please share this with your friends. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe to my channel. That really helps me out. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys on Sunday. Bye.